Good morning. As part of the grand finale of our Family Portrait series, we're going to celebrate families by doing a bit of Q&A with a special group of couples in our church. To refresh your memory, our Family Portrait series was a conversation about God's ideal for how families work best together. As I mentioned throughout the series, if your family is a little weird, quirky, or unusual, don't worry about it, because every family is a little weird, quirky, and unusual. The old adage is really true. Everybody's normal until you get to know them. The foundational biblical principle of this series was found in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 21, when Paul gave this simple instruction: submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Families work best when Christ is the center and each member of the family mutually submits to the other members of the family out of reverence for Christ. Paul went on to talk about how family roles work differently together, but we summarized it like this: husbands, love your wives and be considerate. Wives, respect your husbands. Children, honor and obey your parents. And parents, don't exasperate your children. It sounds simple, but as you know, family dynamics are complex, difficult, and even a bit painful at times. As part of this series, we talked about how to stop the crazy cycle of dysfunctional communication. How do we mutually submit to one another's needs? How do we forgive other members of our family just as Christ forgave us? How do we begin with the end in mind and paint a clear picture of what our family is supposed to look like? How do we begin to pray for and with our family in order to lead every member of the family closer to Christ? And how do we support and encourage one another with this very simple question: what can I do to help you? If you missed any part of this series, you can view it online at our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Shadow Rock Church. Let me introduce our panel couples this morning. Wayne and Roseanne Brune have been married for 50 years and have a lot to share from their considerable experience. A couple of months ago, Wayne went through a heart bypass surgery, and Wayne and Roseanne both are such a great example of tremendous faith and commitment even in a time of crisis. Derek and Erica Strube have 4 beautiful children and would love to have more, which you can certainly understand the moment you meet any of their kids: Spencer, Sawyer, Chai, or baby Gia, whom they call Gigi. Ricky and Clarissa Eros have 3 children, and their names are Yasmin, whom they call Yaya, Ricky, who they call Little Ricky, so he didn't get confused with his dad, and Jacob, whom they call Jake. They started attending Shadow Rock about 1.5 years ago. They enjoy riding bikes together, and they make it a high priority to eat dinner together every single night. Josh and Lindsay Jelmberg have 3 kids too, but they are all little rambunctious wiener dogs. They are our neighbors and about the coolest couple you would ever want to meet. They enjoy hanging out and seeing movies with their not-so-cool neighbors, Craig and Tricia Cunningham. Our moderator this morning, as always, is my wife, Tricia Cunningham, so please help me warmly welcome to the Shadow Rock stage our Family Portrait panel.
Unfortunately, Ricky and Clarissa were not able to join us, and Erica, Derek's wife, is home with their sick child, so we've got a little bit of a smaller group, but we've got some questions. We just like to make God's Word very practical. So we're going to ask you guys, just so we can get to know you a little bit, how would you guys say, if you can answer this question, what do you enjoy doing most as a couple or as a family?
Sure. So to start off, a little intimidated with that. No, to start off, my wife and I and our kids, we like to take trips together as a family. So now that we're out here in the West Coast, we head out to San Diego and LA, Santa Monica, and just try to get away for a weekend, or if ever I have 2 days off together, and spend that time together, quality family time, here on the West Coast.
Okay, awesome. How about you guys, Josh and Lindsay?
We really enjoy quality family time too. It is just the two of us, and we do have just dogs right now, but Josh's family's in town, and we get together with them, and we enjoy hanging out with friends and playing games and just, simple stuff.
And date nights to Costco. It's always kind of. And here's why: is you can buy a year's worth of hand soap and a year's worth of walnuts at the same time, and then you can go over and have a date night for about $3, and I can sit down and have my wife across from me, and I can have the view of the brand new stacks of tires over here. So
That sounds like a great date. All right, how about you guys? What do you enjoy doing most?
Well, we just got Netflix not too long ago, so we're just having a great time catching up on all the movies we didn't see, because we don't go to the movies. We wait for them to come out. So that's what we've been doing. And we found some PureFlex, I think is what it's called. They're Christian movies, and if you can get a hold of them, some of them are pretty good. Got good messages.
All right. Oh, you want to say something, Wayne? Okay. All right. I'm going to have the husbands answer this question. How do you submit to your wife's need for love? Wayne, I'm going to have you answer that first.
Okay, what I've realized is it took me about 15 years to understand that one way I can express my love for her and what she needs is love is I learned how to not be a man. When she says she wants to talk to me, I wanted to fix it, whatever the problem was. I've learned over those 15 years finally that when she's talking to me, she just wants me to listen. She doesn't want me to fix it. I'm dying to my manliness, which means let's solve the problems right away, and I'll tell you how to fix it. I was learning to say, no, I'm just going to listen and give her the time to talk to me.
Perfect. Great answer. All right, Derek, how do you communicate your love to your wife?
I think it's through appreciation. So showing her the appreciation. You know, she does a lot of things that I can't do, that I'm not very good at. From simple things at our home, like paying our bills, or handling the crying baby at 3 in the morning. She does a fantastic job of taking those roles and responsibilities on, and so just showing her that it's all appreciated, and that I understand that I'm incomplete without her, and that I need her, and so vocalizing that and verbalizing that to her is how I show her love and support.
So you show her love and support through words of affirmation. You encourage her. Wayne, you listen to your wife. You let her know that you're there for her. You're listening. Josh, what do you do to show love for your wife?
I guess my answer is not quite as deep. I don't. Cappuccinos is one of the. So my wife's.
I understand why I said careful.
So my wife's love language is acts of service, and so if I can make her a cappuccino in the morning, we start our day off right.
Yes, I can totally relate to that. That is my love language also. And Sunday mornings, Craig wakes me up with a cup of coffee, and it just makes my day. I love Sundays. So, all right, wives, this is for you. How do you submit to your husband's need for respect?
Well, I have told him in the past that I felt that he was my hero. When he was working, he put the family first, always, before his job and everything. When we lived in Mission Viejo in the 80s, we got transferred a lot with his company. And the last transfer was really, really hard on our family. Our children didn't do well in school, and it was just really hard. And so what he did, instead of taking a transfer and us moving, he drove from Mission Viejo every day to North Hollywood. And that's a terrible drive on the 5. And so I always called him a hero for doing that. And then I just told him the other day, I remembered that, and I tell him he's our hero. He thought of the family first. And that's what I think.
That's awesome. All right, this next question is for the two men that have children here. So, and I'm going to start separating these questions and pick people out individually. So, Wayne, how do you submit to your children's need for support, encouragement, and discipline?
The way I did that was that from a very early age, when they were like 2 or 3, where they could begin to understand, I was willing to share, and they helped understand that it was going to be God first, Roseanne second, and they were third. That doesn't mean that I was discounting them, but I wanted to set the correct priorities. And they knew that they couldn't separate Roseanne and I, that we were going to be parents together, so that they couldn't take mom off in one corner and say, well, dad said such and such, or dad, mom said such and such, and therefore you can get away with something. When I'd come home from work, we'd talk about the day that we both had, and we'd be in agreement, if we had to discipline the kids, that this is the way it was going to be, because we've got that priority set up, and hopefully it would help them then learn how to set priorities in their lives as well.
Great. All right. Derek, did you want to say something about that?
Honestly, I would agree, second everything that you said there. I think a consistent message is key for kids and providing them that support that they need. So yeah, our focus entirely is on delivering a consistent message between me and my wife to our children, whether it be discipline, love, or any of those. Yeah.
So consistency is the key. All right. Josh and Lindsay, as an adult, how do you continue to honor your parents?
Well, some of you might know my story. My parents were killed in a car accident, and that's been pretty challenging for our marriage. But it's part of our experience and part of our walk. But God has been super faithful, and where I had memories of my folks, maybe just not such good times, He's redeeming that and bringing back the memories of the better times. So I have little notes and things I'll refer back to. We'll go over photos and be able to share memories. So I just honor them by keeping their memory alive. And especially for when we finally have kids, it'll be good to share good memories with them.
And Josh, you had an answer in the first service that I thought was good too.
So I work with my family. So I work with my mom and dad every day. So this is an area of my life that God is working on with me. They have invested enormous amounts of time in their children's lives and love and patience. And so I feel like probably the best way for me to honor them is to be able to pass it on to my family and our children at some point, and our dogs right now, I guess. And then hopefully eventually, be able to share with other people as well. So.
Okay, Derek, what's a funny conflict that you've had, and how have you resolved it?
Yeah, that's a good one there. So it was funny because setting up for this, we got the questions beforehand. And so in full disclosure, my wife came to me and she said, hey, can we sit down and go over these? And that's not how I operate. I'd rather get up here and just talk and answer the question and what came to my mind. And, but understanding who she is, and she's like, okay, how about this conflict question, Derek? And I said, you know what? There isn't one conflict. Like right now is the biggest conflict I'm having is trying to figure out these questions and answers. And so it was a funny time and a moment when we realized, just in reflection that, she just operates different than I do, whether it be when we're taking a road trip to go somewhere. And so understanding and appreciating that, she has a different way and a different thought process behind it, and that I can appreciate it and grow from it myself, because I wouldn't have had probably any answer to this for prior to going over it. So that's probably the funny. It's daily conflicts that you kind of get through as a team, and it's what makes marriage great.
That is the truth.